Welcome back. Let's talk netball. Jeremy Ditsiso, remember that name. He has an NSA A badge accredited netball umpire, which is worth talking about. The highest ranking, in fact, that you can obtain in the country right now. And he's knocking on the door of international stardom. In 2018, he traveled to Australia, where he officiated at an international under-18 tournament and oversaw the final between Australia and Samoa. And Jeremy is very kindly joined us bright and early in studio to chat about the rigors of being an umpire at the highest level, to take us inside the unbelievably fast-paced world of netball. Jeremy, thank you so much for being here.
It's a huge pleasure being here.
I love you, Guy, because I love the sport. So I played rugby, and there was always a generation within your school or your system of netball players, rugby players that kind of teamed up until you got to the opportunities beyond school. And then the rugby players would have every opportunity, and the netball players could maybe play a bit of club, maybe a little bit of varsity, and that's changing.
Yeah.
And that's because the structures are changing around it.
Exactly.
That means every level of the sporting system needs to go up, so we need our umpires to be knocking on that door as well. How does one find their way to this role? I love the sport. I love the energy, the kinetic energy within that sport. What got you hooked?
I think I used to be a provincial player, and then I played provincially, and as my umpire's career started off, I had to make like a huge decision. Am I going to go into umpiring or playing? And obviously as a male player, even though currently for male players in South Africa there's like a pathway that's actually being created.
There is a circuit.
Thank you, South Africa. That's like amazing. But I saw myself actually that I've got better opportunities as an umpire, so I started focusing on my umpire's career, and I think that was one of the best choices I've ever made, because for me as a person,
Clearly,
as a person, like, the pathway is clearly open and there's opportunities as an umpire.
But you also get to inform that journey on both sides now.
Definitely.
And in paving a way for others to follow in your footsteps, whether that's to play competitively or to make a profession of it in a different way. I love the fact that you've just done it, dude. But now you've got to deliver in what feels like the most unforgiving. And we always used to get found out, because I'd always be like, I can do this. It's a different kind of skill set to master. And I would imagine as an umpire, it's quite difficult. How do you deal with the pressure?
I think dealing with the pressure in South Africa in general, the umpire sphere is quite competitive. So you have like a lot of guys coming through the ranks, and it's literally competitive. Just last night, we found out that one of my very close friends, he actually got his international talent identification status.
Wow.
So there are opportunities, but it's
the
so
world is
competitive. It's so competitive, but literally staying on top of the game. I think as umpires, it's not just about knowing your rules. There's like a full package towards you as a person. The assessors look at you on court, off court, your behavior in general. So it's like a full, so it's not just about picking up a whistle, knowing your rules. There's like a whole full package that is literally being looked at as a person.
And you are an ambassador. And I think any of the international level refs that are going to be representing South Africa effectively are ambassadors to the rest of the world. So added pressure on top of that, which is great, but it also speaks to the emotional investment. When you talk about players, this could be their shot. The coach, this could be the year they've been waiting for after 10 years of failures. There is so much energy off the court. How do you deal with that when players are at each other, when a coach is overstepping those bounds, when a rule is broken to that extent? How do you take control of situations like that?
I think as umpires, we know our responsibility on court, because the match or the level of play can only be advanced if the level of umpiring is obviously advanced. That's very important. And then also as umpires, we are protected through the rules. So we are going to have a demonstration later on. So we are protected where we have steps according to the rule book that we can take in order to ensure there's discipline on court, discipline with the bench, discipline even with the spectators. So we are protected by the rules. We make sure.
I'm glad you added the spectators in the mix there.
If you wanna, sure, I've got my rules. It's going to back me up. So, but obviously that comes with years of experience, years of actually practicing
Owning
it.
your space.
Most
Yeah,
definitely.
completely. Well, we're going to see you own your space in just a moment as you take us through some of the rules, because there are some minor infringements and some pretty big ones, and each one has repercussions. But if you're wanting to get into the mindset of a netball umpire, and I'm speaking specifically to all those who are aspiring to take that next step up, stick around. Jeremy ain't going nowhere. We're going to get into some of the rules and the repercussions for breaking them in just a moment.
Oh, welcome back, Mzansi. It's your Feel Good Breakfast Show. What an incredible show it's been already. We're diving into action. We're diving into all the hype of the Netball World Cup. And we're diving into the law when it comes to playing on the netball court. We're talking about Jeremy Ditsitso. He's back with us this morning and is about to demonstrate some of the common infringements a player would get blown up for. Now, I know a lot of us that aren't familiar with the game are dying to find out more, seeing as this incredible occasion is happening. So let me explain this to you. Breaking a minor rule in netball leads to the opposition being awarded a free pass, which is a pass taken from the same spot where the infringement occurred. So breaking a major netball rule is naturally considered to be more serious and results in the opposition being awarded a penalty pass. If that didn't make sense to you, then don't worry, because Jeremy is here to serve us. Bro, I loved your conversation. I loved what's happening here, but let's get into this game, the nitty-gritty, so that I think when Mzansi's watching,
Most definitely.
they can understand, get behind our team and support them. So let's talk about this infringement thing. Makes sense to me, yeah?
So in netball, you get minor infringements. You also have major infringements. So a major infringement will actually lead to a penalty pass, and a minor will lead to a free pass. So I'll just do a few minor infringements.
Okay.
Quickly. So a minor infringement would be once you control the ball to me. So if somebody throws the ball to you, you've got 3 seconds to pass the ball. If you can't pass the ball within 3 seconds, I'm going to take my whistle and take held ball. So that means that you stood with the ball for more than 3 seconds.
I don't want to hear that whistle. That sounds angry.
So the second one is, let's say you pass the ball to me, right? And I've got full control over the ball, and let's say while I've got full control, the ball falls, and then I pick it up again, then I'm going to be blown for what we refer to as the replay of the ball.
Okay.
So that means you
Is
have
that a
full
minor
control.
infringement as
Minor.
well?
So it's
Okay.
like a free pass for it.
So what is when you commit a minor infringement, you get, the opposition gets awarded?
The opposition gets the ball, but nobody stands out of play. So everybody can still take part of play, but when it's a penalty pass, then somebody has to stand out of play, which means you can't take part in play when you're out of play.
So that's literally like I can pass it straight to someone close to the goal and go for a point, right?
There we go.
All
Okay,
right.
so we're going to get there, right?
Okay,
The other
okay.
minor infringements would be, like, for example, offside. Let's say you're in an area where you're not supposed to be as a player. So we've got 7 positions on court, and every position has a specific place where they're supposed to play. So if somebody goes offside, offside.
So in soccer, you get offside where you like behind the team. Does it work the same in netball?
It's not
Is
the
it-
same in netball, most definitely not. So in
Okay.
netball, you've got a specific position that you're playing, and that means you've got specific areas on court where you're allowed to go. So once you go into an area where you're not supposed to go, you get blown for
So those
offside.
letters at the back of the players
where
tells you
you're
where their
supposed to
position
be.
is.
So you can now
and what-
imagine how much an umpire has to focus to actually ensure
Wow.
the player is in the correct position the whole time.
You've got to be aware of both sides of the game,
Everything.
everyone's position and their demarcated
Exactly.
area that they've got to play in.
So we just need some respect in Zanzi because it's a lot of hard work to be an umpire. Then the next one would be, so I spoke about offside.
Yeah.
Then we speak about the short pass. So let's say you standing over here and I'm here. Then you can't pass the ball to me because obviously a third person cannot come in between us, and that will now be known as a short pass.
Oh,
So if
okay.
you see an umpire on TV at the World Cup doing short pass, they will just say, short pass. That means there's no space for a third person to come
And
through
intervene to
and
potentially
intervene.
stop that pass from
Exactly.
taking place.
Exactly.
All right.
And then the other one would be breaking. Breaking means that you went into an offside area before the whistle was blown, and then you've got another one. So the netball court is divided into 3 thirds, right? So you can't throw a ball over a whole third, then it becomes an infringement, also minor,
Okay.
over a third.
You've got to progress through all the way to that section.
Exactly. So those are all the minors. So for minors, it's very easy, you know. It's like, don't do it anymore because it's literally not looking good on court. Then we get to majors. That is now where players now...
And already
Remember-
your face has changed there. I can see that no one wants to be
So
committing majors here.
remember, netball is a non-contact sport, and I think that is like the most rhetorical thing that was ever, because it's so much contact on court, especially with the speed of the game progressing, the game becoming fast, etc. So the major infringements would be contact. So let's say you are there with the ball,
Yeah.
and then as the ball is coming, then I'm doing this to you.
Yo, Jeremy got some gains on him. Whoa! Okay, I felt that.
So then the umpire would blow the whistle, contact.
Okay,
So
major infringement.
Major. So contact, that means the person that committed the infringement must now stand beside you, and then I take the ball, which means you can't take part in play. So the team now only has 6 players on court that can actually take part. So that's for contact.
And the whistle sounded very similar. Is it a difference in the major
The
and the minor?
whistles, okay, so what happens is that once the major becomes intentional, once it becomes, once it's
Like you've had enough
happening-
warnings now,
exactly.
like, come
so
on.
then, as an umpire, we also get the opportunity where we can use a louder whistle. So those are other steps that we can also take to
Okay.
protect us. Like, you know, stop.
Don't mess with Jeremy.
Exactly. So those are like 4 contacts. Then you also have obstruction. Obstruction means like, so if you've got the ball, then I need to be away from you 3 feet.
Okay.
So I always tell my players at school, and once I'm talking, I'm going to give a shout out to all my beautiful Durbanville kids.
Hey, Durbanville, what's happening?
Okay. So once you've got the ball right
Yeah.
and you get into the center circle,
Okay.
so I always tell people this: if you don't know how far 3 feet is, go look at the size of a center circle because that is 3 feet. So
Okay.
you need to be 3 feet away from the person with the ball. If you are not 3 feet away, then it's also known as obstruction. So the
Okay.
umpire would say, okay, you are too close to the player, obstruction.
Beautiful stuff.
So obstruction means you are too close to the player, you're making it impossible for the player to pass the ball, so you also need to be beside in the way.
All right. Now, listen, Jeremy has a plethora of information when it comes to netball. Obviously, he is at the top when it comes to this Netball World Cup. He's going to be the law. He's going to be the one you want to listen to, and also someone that's been so involved in the game. So thank you for the work that you're doing. Also on the ground, I think it's so important right now, especially when we see where this can go, and for having people as incredible as you behind it all.
It's a pleasure being here.
All right, one more whistle maybe from the man himself. You heard it.